Hey there, Mom. It's been a while since we last spoke, hasn't it? How have you been? I hope everything has been alright with you. But given that you're living by yourself, all alone, I really doubt that you're doing, all good for yourself. Wait, Lisa, I haven't heard from you in forever. Why are you suddenly messaging me now? I mean, I don't think that we've talked for almost 10 years now. Is that all you have to say to your daughter after all these years? I know exactly how long it's been since we spoke. You don't have to remind me. But I would have guessed you would have been a bit more emotional with your response after your daughter reaches out to you after 10 years. Well, if you were a nice girl and a better daughter, I might have been a bit more touched. But you were the person who kicked me out of the house all those years ago, after all. So I guess it's more than fair to say that I'm not really happy to hear from you at all. Oh, is that really any way to talk to your only daughter? Especially when I just wanted to tell you that I'm going to be getting married. But if you're just going to be a jerk to me, then I guess I won't tell you anything more about it, so... Wait a second, you're going to be getting married? Is that really true? Haha, I knew that would hook you in. But yes, it's true. My boyfriend finally proposed to me, so we're going to be getting married soon. I just thought that you might like to know. That's why I reached out to you like this. But I have to say that I am so disappointed at this terrible attitude that you've taken towards me, Mother. So you're really getting married, huh? You're not lying to me, are you? There's no tricks or other hidden ulterior motives you got going on, do you? What is that supposed to mean? Of course I'm getting married. Why would I be lying about that? I'm your daughter, and I'm trying to tell you that I'm getting married, and you think that I'm lying about it. You are supposed to be happy for me, Mom. You should really try to be a better person, like Daddy. He loves me with all of his heart, and I know that he would do anything for me. He was so over the moon when he heard that I was getting married. And my fiancé is the most amazing man in the world. We're going to get married, and then I'm going to be the happiest girl in all of the town. You really think that I should be more like your father? You do remember that he cheated on me, don't you? Ugh, are you still hung up on that old thing? Just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's a fact that your dad is a cheater. He left me, his wife, for a much younger woman, and that's why we got divorced in the first place. I still don't see how you can take his side in anything after he did that to me. In fact, you took it much farther than that, didn't you? You got so fed up with me that you threw me out of my own house. Well, my boyfriend isn't going to cheat on me, okay? Honestly, I can't believe you're just bringing up the past when I'm trying to tell you about my future. But I seriously can't believe that you're still hung up on that. You seriously need to learn to let things go, or you'll never be able to grow as a person. Are you seriously saying that it's my fault that you kicked me out of the house? You can't be serious, right? You have no idea how hard I worked for you and your father, how much effort I poured into taking care of you two. But even so, your father stabbed me in the back and my own daughter cast me out of my house. Are you serious? Are you really trying to say that you were even doing that much for us? The only one who was ever working hard for us was Daddy. It's always been Daddy. He was the one going to work every single day to make sure that we had food on our table and a roof over our head. Are you really trying to compare yourself to that? All you did was lie around the house doing nothing all day. Who are you trying to fool here? You have got to be kidding me, right? Not only that, but you were so mean and strict with me every single day. You weren't even a good housewife. You were just a loafer. And you didn't work or do anything to contribute to the house at all. All you did was abuse your power over me, your poor innocent daughter. Okay, this is just getting ridiculous. You do realize that your father was constantly using his job as an excuse to avoid anything to do with raising you, right? And just what is that supposed to mean? You expect me to believe that? Of course I do. And then he would come home and scream at me if there was anything that he thought wasn't clean enough for him in the house. And when you were little and would catch a cold, he would accuse me of being the one that got you sick. And he would do that same thing when you did poorly on tests too. Every little thing that went wrong, he would blame me for every single thing. But he was also fawning over and doting on you and would never find any fault in anything you did. Instead, he just put all the blame on me and never took any responsibility for himself, much less make you take responsibility for your actions. And just what's so wrong about that, huh? You weren't working, you were a housewife. Your only jobs are to keep the house clean and make sure that I was raised well. So of course Dad would get upset with you if you were just totally failing to do those basic things. I can't believe you refuse to see my side in all of this. Well, that's because I know you're dead wrong and I never want to be like you. When I get married, I'm going to be the perfect housewife. I'll make sure the house is always spotless and raise my children to be angels without ever having to scold them like you did to me. Well, if you think it's that easy, then you really ought to give it a shot yourself. But I don't think you're going to find that any child is ever a perfect angel all the time. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey there, Marge. I hear from Lisa you're doing pretty well these days.
I'm doing fine, thank you very much. But what do you want, Why are you messaging me? If you don't have anything to say to me, I'd appreciate it if you leave me alone.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where is all this anger coming from? I mean, your ex-husband reaches out after 10 years and this is how you greet him? What's the matter with you? I thought that you might have been more willing to talk to me. I thought that you were going to be happy to hear from me.
You are really just like your daughter, ain't you? Just why do you think I would ever want to hear from you again? Do you think that I'd forgotten all about how you betrayed me 10 years ago?
But that's so far in the past. You can't really still be mad about that, right? You need to learn to let things go. Besides, I already told you that the only reason I did cheat on you was because I was getting so stressed out from my job. And it was only one time. You didn't need to go so far to divorce me. And I think if you're still mad about it, then that's your problem.
You think just because you said you were sorry that it means I have to forgive you? Look, Mo, I really don't want to do this. Can you just please go back to leaving me alone?
Wait, Marge, please. The whole reason I reached out to you was because I have something really important to tell you.
What is it? Is it Lisa's wedding? Because if it is, I already know about it. But you can go on ahead and celebrate at her wedding because I ain't going.
But that's actually exactly what I want to talk to you about. You see, I was wondering if you wanted to come to the wedding with me. We could be husband and wife again, and be there for our daughter on her big day. Doesn't that sound amazing?
Is that supposed to be some kind of a joke?
Of course it's not a joke. I'm asking you if you want to get back together with me. I mean, once our little girl gets married, she's going to move out, and then I'll be all alone. You don't want me to be alone, do you? Surely you must have no one else and be looking for someone to get with, right? You've also been single ever since we split up, right? That's why this is the perfect chance for you and I to get back together. We can go back to the way things were.
Now I know you're joking because there is no way I would ever want to marry you again.
It's not a joke. I'm being serious, Marge. Come back here and live with me again. I still haven't forgotten what an amazing cook you are. And I really miss you waking up early to iron all my clothes so that they're ready for me when I got to work. Not to mention having a spotless house like you always kept it.
It just sounds to me like you're looking for a maid rather than a wife.
Surely you must be sick of having to work a job for these past 10 years, right? But if we got back together, then you could quit your job and go back to being a housewife. It would be perfect. You know deep down this is really what you want, right?
Of course, this isn't what I want. And I'll have you know that I very much enjoy my job, thank you very much. And more than that, I am very happy with my current husband. Why do you think I would ever take back someone who cheated on me? If you really thought that there was ever a chance that I would say yes, then you would really need to get your head checked.
Hold on a second. What do you mean, your current husband? Are you telling me that you've gotten remarried?
That's right. We've been married for about 3 years, in fact. He was introduced to me by my boss. He's a lovely man, and it didn't take long for us to start dating. He's nice and caring, and he would never ever cheat on me. Basically, he's everything that you never were and could be for me.
No way, that can't be. There is no way that a man can be all those things at one. Men are just built to cheat. It's in our DNA. You're just being tricked by him and you haven't realized it yet.
And just what makes you think you can speak for every man on the planet?
Because I am a man and I know that we're all cheaters deep down in our hearts. But that's why you don't have to worry about me. I've already gotten the cheating out of my system. So you can be sure that I'm a safe bet now.
Just because you realize what a terrible person you are doesn't mean that all men are like that. Anyways, if that's all you had to say to me, I'll be taking my leave now. If you want a wife who does all those things you were talking about earlier, I'd recommend just hiring a maid. Hey Lisa, I saw that you had called me a few times. Is there something that you wanted to talk to me about? If it's about your wedding, I've already given your dad my answer to that. Oh, I just wanted to let you know that our wedding plans were moving along smoothly. My fiancé is much more wealthy than I ever thought he was. His family is really rich and powerful, and anyways, we're going to be having the most spectacular wedding anyone has ever seen. I see. Well, good for you two, I suppose. But that's why you have to be there to see it. I know that you might still be mad at me for the things that happened in the past, but I just know that seeing me getting married at my amazing wedding is going to make you even more pissed off. I just want to see that look on your face when you realize how well off I'm doing now. Oh, is that the only reason why you want me to be there at your wedding? Of course, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have the whole event catered by one of the best restaurants in town, and I probably paid more for my wedding dress than you make in your whole life. The whole thing is going to cost a fortune, $100,000, and the best part of it all is my fiance's family is going to pay for everything. Wow, that sounds like a very expensive wedding. I can see why you're so set on trying to show it off to everyone you can. That's right, and don't ask me why, but for some reason, Daddy really wants you to be there. And since you're single, that probably means that you have loads of free time on your hands. So I think you should just swallow your pride and marry Daddy again. Then you two can come to the wedding and everything will be a happy fairy tale ending. I told you, your father and I already discussed this. Maybe you should ask him what I said when he invited me. Oh, come on. This wedding is going to be the event of the century. There are going to be famous rich people and great food, and I'm being kind enough to extend an invitation to you. Well, if you must know, I've already been invited to your wedding and I've already got an invitation. What are you talking about? Daddy never sent you a proper invitation, did he? He didn't, but you don't need to trouble yourself by sending me one either. If you must know, however, I got my invitation from your fiancé. My fiancé invited you to our wedding? What is that supposed to mean? I never heard him say anything about inviting you. I mean, I told him all about how you and I haven't really talked at all since the divorce. Oh yes, I think that Ralph doesn't actually know yet that I'm your mother. You see, he's only inviting me because I'm his boss. Him and I get along quite well, so I think he was just being kind enough to invite me to his wedding. Hold on a second. You're his boss? I'm so lost right now. Okay, let's start from the beginning. You're Ralph and I work at the same company, and I'm his supervisor for his branch, which makes me his boss. Are you following along now? But I didn't know any of this. I know, it really is a small world after all, isn't it? But when I looked over the invitation that he gave me, I realized that the bride-to-be was in fact you. The timing seemed right, and I even asked him to show me a picture of his fiancée just to double check. Wait, no, this can't be right. You have to be lying to me. There's no way that you and Ralph work for the same company. He works from one of the most powerful companies in the country. But you're telling me that not only do you also work there, but you're his boss? This doesn't make any sense. You were nothing but a housewife 10 years ago. How did you get that high in the company? You are so right about that. It was very difficult to get my foot in the door anywhere after the divorce. But it wasn't impossible, and I was finally given a chance after a long and hard search for a job. And I worked hard and put in the extra effort, built my skills, transferred to another company, and then finally landed the position I have now. But does stuff like that really happen? Well, I suppose I actually do have to thank your father for something. After all, he didn't do anything but leave the housework to me and the child rearing, of course, and then I might have learned some skills like how to multitask. And compared to raising a spoiled brat like you, training the new employee is like a walk in the park. It's like I was training for this job my whole married life. No, this can't be true. You have to be lying to me. There's no way that you're my fiance's boss. Ralph is always talking about how lucky he is and how he has such a good boss, and now you're telling me that it's been you the whole time? You know, he even sends me gifts on Christmas and my birthday. Oh, bless his heart. Oh, you are kidding me. I'm not kidding at all. And Ralph also told me that I could bring along my husband if I wanted to, so that's just what I'm planning to do. So you can look forward to meeting my new husband at your wedding. Isn't that great? Hold on a second. New husband? You're married? That's right, and I couldn't be more happier with my new husband. In fact, even Ralph is good friends with him. They go fishing on the weekend all the time. You mean to tell me that Ralph's fishing buddy, the one he talks about all the time, is really your husband? It appears so. And Ralph really is so kind. He's always going on about what a cute couple he thinks my husband and I make, that he's so eager to have us be there for him on his big day. So anyways, I guess I'll see you there.
Marge, I want you to divorce that loser right this second. He's trying to start beef with me, and I'm not going to stand for it. When are you going to realize that the only man who can make you happy in this world is me?
I really don't think he's trying to start anything with you at all. I think that if anyone is trying to start anything, it's you.
Well, then why would this guy marry someone like you who already has been divorced? Is he just really bad at flirting, so he just settled for you because he couldn't get anyone else?
Did you really just fix your mouth and say that to me, Mo?
But that still wouldn't explain why this jerk is looking down on me. How dare he steal my ex-wife from me? He should have gone out looking for a younger woman like all real men do. Instead, he peeved on some other guy's leftovers. Well, I'm not going to stand for that kind of ridiculous behavior.
Okay, Mo, you really need to stop behaving this way. You look so ignorant right now. You are just a pathetic little man, aren't you?
What did you just call me? All I'm trying to do is take my woman back from this jerk. You think I'm gonna roll over and let this guy beat me? If I can't have you, then I'll just find someone younger again. There are plenty of new hires that I can get to fall in love with me.
I seriously doubt that any poor young woman is gonna fall in love with a big old jerk like you, Mo. You really haven't changed at all these past 10 years. How pathetic.
And just what is that supposed to mean?
It means that after seeing how you're behaving at this wedding, I'm sure that no one is ever gonna want to marry a sorry piece of man like you.
Wait, Marge, please. You have to reconsider. You really want me to live the rest of my life all alone? I won't be able to make it by myself.
What are you talking about? You're not alone. You have your daughter with you. You know how much Lisa loves you. I'm sure that she would be more than happy to take care of you in your old age. Maybe you could even move in with her and Ralph.
I already tried asking her about that and she shut me down. That's why I have no other choice but to get back together with you, get it?
Oh, she turned you down.
She did! So I have to get back with you. I don't have any other choice. But then you showed up at the wedding with your stupid new husband. That when I went to Lisa to talk to her about what she would do for my future, and she told me and begged her not to abandon me. But she told me that I wouldn't be allowed to live with them, and that they were never going to send me any money. Every little request I made her, she totally shot it down.
Wow. Oh, that sounds tough.
She said that if her fiancé knew that I was begging for money, that I would just humiliate her. Then she told me that she probably isn't even going to visit me at home because she'll be too busy being a housewife to have time to do that.
You know, now that I think about it, I didn't really have time to visit my parents after I got married to you. You told me that I had to put you and Lisa ahead of my own family.
'Cause it wouldn't be fair. If I have to be at work all day, then you shouldn't be allowed to leave the home all day.
Well, I hope that you put aside some money for your retirement, because it sounds to me like you're going to need plenty of it now that you're on your own. Oh no, what am I gonna do? This is completely all your fault. You ruined my wedding. What are you talking about? I thought your wedding was yesterday and it went off without a hitch. It might have looked like that on the surface, but Ralph took me aside and told me that he wasn't going to marry me after all. I was so terribly upset yesterday, you have no idea. He really said that he wasn't going to marry you. Don't act surprised. This is all your fault. You told him all about me and how you and Dad divorced because he cheated on you. And then you told him about how I blamed you for all of it and chased you out of the house. He told me that's why he wasn't going to marry me anymore. I wasn't saying any of those things to try and be mean and get revenge on you, okay? We just kind of got to talking before the wedding, and it slipped out of my mouth before he even knew, and I knew that I was the mother of the conversation. You completely ruined any interest he had in me before, and on the day of my wedding too? Do you have any idea how humiliated I am right now? He agreed to go through with the farce of the wedding, but he said he would never sign anything that would legally bound us together. We were supposed to go to the courthouse today to finalize everything, but instead he called me to tell me that we were over. And to think you were this close to marrying into a rich family to have your happily ever after. You must be kicking yourself for losing such an opportunity. Don't talk to me like that when this is all your fault. In your heart, you know that you did all this to yourself, Lisa. I only told him the things that happened. It's not like I lied or even went out of my way to say those things. Oh, just shut up already and do something to help me. And just what could I do for you? Well, you can talk to him and tell him to take me back. Or order him to marry me. Please, I'm your daughter. You have to help me. Stop saying all this nonsense right now, Lisa. Stop acting like I'm your mother when it's convenient for you. I stopped being your mother 10 years ago. You don't get to decide that I'm suddenly part of your life again. I'm not your mother, and you're not my daughter, and that's that. Now please, never contact me again. Wait, no, please, you can't do this to me. You can't just abandon me like this. I'm your only daughter. You ruined my wedding day. Well then, I guess this will give you enough time to think long and hard about whose fault this really is, and hopefully change your character. Now goodbye, Lisa. After that, I heard from Ralph himself that what Lisa had told was true, and that the two of them were in fact no longer getting married. I apologized to Ralph as I felt like I really had a role in all of this happening. But he told me that I had nothing to apologize for. And instead, he thanked me for showing him a side of Lisa and her father that he had no idea about until then. And he's such a kind and sweet young man, bless his heart. I truly feel lucky to have him in my staff. Afterwards, Lisa tried to go back to live with Mo, but he turned her away, of course. He told her that he would never take her back after what she did in revealing her true colors, to abandon her own father. I hear that Lisa was finally able to convince her father to let her stay with him again, but I can't imagine it's a comfortable living situation.
Hey, look at George and me. Aren't we so cute together? Wow, you must be really thick for sending pictures of your affair. I might even have admiration. Jealous much? Or do you not care enough about your husband sleeping with another girl? Who was his high school classmate? Well, ain't that some twisted fate? I feel sorry for you. Really. Isn't it random that we all went to the same school together? Yeah, right. Don't you get it? How we came together like this? You mean you had feelings for him all along? That's right. When I heard you and George were getting married, I got so pissed, you know. Literally screamed, "Why her?" Is that so? And that's why 2 years ago, I approached him, and then he said to me, "I always wanted to marry you, not her." Isn't that just the sweetest? You talk too much. I have a lot to say, so what are you gonna do about it? About what? Getting divorced? Are you gonna or not? That's why I'm texting you in the first place. Huh? What's this, a hotel room? Yep, I'm having girls' night in this suite with Mary and Tammy. My treat. Okay. What, are you trying to gloat or something? Or are you being defensive? Like, I have 2 friends so I don't care about you? Well, that's part of it. From now on, all 3 of us are never speaking to you ever again. So I sent you that picture as a kind of memorabilia. What? Just kidding. The fuck? You just want to show off, don't you? Look at me and how I can't afford this stuff. To make me feel miserable staying in a moderate room. Grow up. I'm so not at all jealous of you. Lena, don't you realize? What? You're making no sense. You still don't get it? OMG, this view? Are we staying at the same hotel? Finally, you got that right. We just checked in earlier. Funny, isn't it? We're in the same hotel. Some fate putting us in this situation. What are you up to? I knew it from the beginning, that you guys made a reservation at this hotel. Huh? So I decided to call up my parents, talk over some stuff. Wanted to get it over with. Stop it! You're sick. Why can't you do that when we get back? Stalking us on our vacation? So not cool. If I'm sick, you're disgusting. Why don't we meet up after dinner, huh? Talk about divorce and such? You're attending, of course. You didn't tell my husband? Damn right I did. He said he's arriving here in about 20 minutes. You're kidding me. No use in running, by the way. All of our parents are already here. Anyway, there's proof of your affair in my hands. Fine. I already had everything planned out. I was ready to pay for the alimony when I sent you that photo. Turned out a bit different than I thought, but can't change what happened. You are getting a divorce, right? Duh. I don't need a man who runs off to another girl. Take him for all I care. Fine then. Have a miserable life alone. Crying in sour grapes? Pouting doesn't suit a girl your age. You can't be cutesy forever. Shut up. Anyways, I won't be miserable alone. You are. Wait and see. Let's get this over with, shall we? Come down to the lobby then. I'm not going to your room, obviously. Don't even try to run away. I don't need you telling me that.
Hey Momo, you up? I want to talk to you in private. Can you come down to the lobby?
I knew you would say that. You're an ass. Didn't you think what would have happened when I found out?
I didn't mean for all of this to happen. Lena and I, we weren't serious.
Well then, why were you so silent the whole discussion?
I couldn't gather the courage to speak up.
You're such a ninny. When my dad asked you if you did this because you wanted a divorce, you should have said no. Well, even if you did, wouldn't change anything.
I couldn't. He was so threatening.
Then don't have an affair in the first place, dork. Have fun on your vacation. Not that you have anywhere to call home when you get back.
You can't be serious. What about my stuff?
Dead serious. Your mom and dad took all of your belongings with them. I packed for them. God, that's time I'm not getting back.
The hell?
You shouldn't have let Lena send that picture. Aren't you supposed to be away on a business trip? That's concerning, huh?
But I
called your supervisor for you, of course.
You did what?
Yeah, so apparently he went on an affair trip when he is supposedly working.
What?
Ma'am, your husband is on a leave of absence today. What do you have to say for yourself?
Why did you do that? Don't you understand the consequences I'll have in my office?
We are getting divorced, thus making us legally strangers. I don't give a damn about your well-being.
You...
Oh, but you'll need to pay for the divorce settlements, so don't lose the job.
What settlements? You're joking.
The hell I am. I'm taking $20,000 from you, $15,000 from Lena.
Huh?
That's all. I bid you good night. Me? I'm gonna have a blast with my girls. A happy divorcement party, if you will. Well, have fun you too.
You ruined our night. Come on, Momo, you're better than this.
Thanks for unblocking me. Long time no see, Momo. I'm so happy to finally get to talk to you again. What do you want? Don't be so rude. Just want to talk. I don't have spare time to put up with your shenanigans. I unblocked you reluctantly only because Mary told me to. She was so frustrated with your pestering. Don't get full of yourself. Don't be a downer. I'm bringing you happy news. Anything but happy if it's coming from you. Don't be so mean. I'm trying to tell you that I'm getting married. So, I'm getting married. My marriage? You should be happy for me. I don't care, literally. What? It's George's and my wedding. It should be a huge deal to you. Why are you so indifferent? To me, that idea alone is a mystery. Why would I, hearing upon your marriage with George, be happy about it? You want to congratulate us, don't you? No frickin' way. Me? Congratulate? The marriage of my ex-husband and ex-friend. Have you totally lost your mind? You are so mean. I have not lost my mind. I'm living my best life. I don't care. Talking to you is a waste of my calories. No! Wait. You want to come to the wedding, don't ya? The fuck? You want to be invited, right? You're insane. Bye. Wait, are you not coming? I've already have the invitations ready to send. You were going to give a speech as my friend. Hey, you still there? Momo?
Sorry to disturb. Hey, Momo. I think you've already heard from Tammy.
I did. So what do you want? You mauled Tammy on the street for my number. Must be important.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about something. It's kind of long. Can you maybe take time after work to talk today?
No. Why would I give effort to make time for you?
Sorry for the short notice, but it's an emergency.
Is this about your engagement with Lena?
Wait, you know about that?
I guess so.
Why?
Why? Seriously, you're not the only blabbering idiot in this town.
Lena contacted you?
She basically harassed Mary to get to me. They live near each other, ran into each other by chance.
Right. Yeah, it's about the wedding.
You're not telling me to come, are you? Because I am so not going.
No, I'm not asking you to come. I don't have the guts to do that.
What then?
I told you I want your time. I can't exactly text you about this.
About what?
Not right now. It's all up to your schedule. So how about it? I also got Mary and Tammy to come.
Wait, you called them?
Yeah, I think they'll text you later. Can you believe me now? I just want to get this thing sorted.
Fine. I'm available after 7.
Thank you. See you soon. I'll text you the address.
Hey, I've got dates for our wedding day. What? You're not serious. What do you mean? You're coming, aren't you? You never sent back your acceptance. I already sent you my answer. So you're coming then? I'll have your seating charts ready then. The hell are you saying? Can't you think straight for 1 second? Your wedding got canceled, didn't it? Canceled? What? Who told you that? I'm not sending out invitations if it got canceled now, would I? If you say so. I'm sending you my final answer to your invitation. No. Freaking no. I can't wait to see you at the ceremony. You're coming, of course. I don't know if you're procrastinating, but you should talk to him. There's no way around this. Calm down for once. You're annoying the F out of me. But it's not my fault. Nobody's coming to my wedding. You're my only hope, Momo. Seriously? The fuck? You understand me. You care about me and George. Have a nice life. I'm reserving your seat. You're coming. Understood? What? Answer the phone. Can't right now. What? You know exactly what. Why aren't you here? What happened to the normal Lena? You always end your text with a sad face. Shut up. It's all over. I'm done for. F this. You know what today is, don't you? Your wedding, pending day, right? You knew. You talked George out of this, didn't you? Wait, you're not. Are you actually at the venue? When it got canceled? I didn't cancel it. George did it on his own account. I didn't agree to that. George called the engagement off a month ago. How are you gonna get married without him? Seriously? It's all your fault. Yes, you are the reason why he called the engagement off. You two had an affair. I'm charging you alimony. Huh? Are you accusing? Duh. You had the talk with George, right? I might have urged his realization, but don't you get that you had this coming? What do you mean? George told me everything. Momo told me. That's a while back. Are we talking about when George asked me what kind of person you are? Huh? If that is so, Tammy and Mary were also there with us. All of us talked about you. Huh? What? What's going on? After you told me you guys were getting married, George texted me, saying he wanted to discuss with the 3 of us. When did that happen? He didn't want to complicate things by you knowing. Why did he think that? Because he wanted to ask as how much of a whore you are. Knowing you, you'd have prevented it any way possible. No, I wouldn't. You would, and you know it. You change your behavior depending on the person. From a guy's perspective, you might look cute and all. From us girls, way opposite. That's not true. Oh, yes it is. And after the engagement announcement, he heard rumors about you. Naturally, he was curious. So you went around bad-mouthing me? Bitch! Listen to the story till the end, will you? After I heard about your wedding, I immediately told all of our classmates not to worry about me and congratulate you guys. What? When George and I got married, everyone sent in video messages, remember? Of course, it would be wrong for me to do that, but it's been 3 years, and I told my friends to not mind about me. Those who want to congratulate you as much as they want. I never told them to boycott the wedding. Then why did nobody come? I don't get it. Seriously? It's because you've done too much damage. Not just with George, but whoring around the whole school. Having sugar daddies, then dumping their asses. Stealing friends' boyfriends, plural, all done while you were with George. What? So yeah, it started with my text, but but everyone was eager to fill George in with all of those details. That's why he called off the engagement. He did say you were acting strange after moving in together. What? So George knows everything? Apparently, you were too eager to show yourself, not waiting a bit to vigorously use your savings, not doing anything in the house. You can't, so you asked George to do them all, even though you told him house chores were your specialty before you started dating. You couldn't go through with one single thing. I'm surprised it took this long for George to raise suspicions, but I am so not forgiving you for talking behind my back. But I do admire the courage to go on with the wedding, though. You're so desperate. Oh, and by the way, I'm not getting back with George, so I don't care about cheating guys, but you have a lot on you. What? Don't you have alimony money to pay up? Use your time wisely, and do not pester me with texts. You can't run away from reality. Putting it off won't do you any good. Have fun. After that, Lena had to pay all the fees for the wedding, plus alimony to George for cheating on him. She had to beg her parents to help her out. In the meanwhile, good for her on finally getting her stuff together. I won't be involved in her life as her friend anymore. That'll be a nightmare.
I never want to see you in my house again. Do you understand me? And break up with my brother and leave him alone forever. Got it? Now, wait just a second. You just can't pour hot coffee all over someone and then talk to them as if they're the problem. What did you just say to me, you miserable cow? I only came over here to tell you that Nathan and we're getting married. I have no idea what I did to you to deserve this type of treatment, which I think is horrible, by the way. And how can you treat someone like this? It doesn't make any sense. You really think I'm gonna let some old divorced woman marry my older brother? Oh, you must be dreaming. Think of that hot coffee as my way of trying to wake you up from this horrible little fantasy you're trying to live. You have got to be kidding me, right? Is that all that you have to say for yourself? Nathan probably doesn't even realize just how close he came to having his life completely ruined by you. But I'm a good sister, and I saved him from throwing away everything just for you. If you couldn't make your first marriage work, I have no idea why you're even bothering to try again. You would just drag Nathan down to your level if you two got married. Is that really what this is all about? You did what you did all because I was married before? I can't believe it. Nathan and I come over here because we wanted to share our good news, and instead you turn around and treat me like this? What kind of person doesn't think that someone should ever get married again just because they were divorced in the past? It makes perfect sense to me and anyone else with a brain and eyes that could clearly see. Of course, someone like you is probably just incapable of seeing just how much this marriage would ruin his life. Then again, maybe you just don't care and you're only out for yourself. But that's all the more reason to protect my brother from an evil woman like you. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's had thoughts like this like you do, Erica. Well then, I guess that means I'm the only one standing in the way of my brother throwing his future prospects away for someone as lame as you. I mean, you already promised to love someone till death do you part, and I don't think either of you or your ex-husband are dead yet. So why should anyone ever trust anything you have to say about love or marriage? Or maybe it wasn't your personality. Maybe your husband left you because you are barren and can't have children. But that's just another good reason to keep you as far away from my brother as possible. Can you please just stop making all these assumptions about my life? I'll have you know that my last divorce wasn't my husband's decision, it was mine. Oh, really? So you left him and not the other way around? That's right. My ex-husband was a drunk who drowned himself in a bottle every night. And he wasn't afraid to get violent with me either. Not only that, but he was always stealing money from me and ended up running away with a younger woman. Oh, wow. Well, that guy sounds like a real piece of work if you ask me. He's complete trash. On that we can agree. So maybe you can understand why I felt like I had no other choice but to get out of that situation. I really did try to make things work out with my last husband, but nothing I tried seemed to get through to him. The divorce really was my last resort to deal with the situation. Alright then, I guess I understand why you and this guy split up, but it doesn't change the fact that you're still just a dumb woman who isn't good enough for my brother. And what makes you say that? Well, because you were stupid enough to marry such a complete piece of trash in the first place, of course. If you knew this guy was such a terrible person, but you still married him, then that just shows what a complete and total idiot you really are. I don't think you understand. Before we got married, he really was a kind and sweet man to me. But it was only after we said our vows that he changed into this horrible monster. I had no idea that he was hiding his true self behind a mask that he was waiting to take off after our marriage. Oh, there you go, pretending like none of this is your fault when you admitted that you were stupid enough to let yourself be tricked by this person. If you didn't do enough research into who you were marrying before doing it, then that is still on you. And all of this goes back to serve my original point that you are not good enough to marry my brother. Are you kidding me? Do you really think that life is that simple? Besides, I don't think Nathan is enough of a jerk to be your type. Maybe you should find someone more up to your level, Clearly you're not responsible enough to understand marriage. I mean, you only realized the mistake you made after you made it. A smarter person would have never gotten married in the first place. You don't know what you're talking about at all. I really had no idea that my ex-husband was that kind of man before we got married. I never even saw him drink a drop of alcohol while we were dating. Oh, just shut up already, will you? You're only dragging your own grave, you know. All I've gathered from this conversation is that you're a stupid, irresponsible, reckless woman. You need to take responsibility for your actions and quit trying to blame others for your lack of judgment. Oh my God, you can't be serious, right? You really can't see things from my perspective at all. I don't, because there's nothing to see except you're not good enough for Nathan. Just the thought of being your sister-in-law with a complete idiot like you is enough to send my blood pressure up. You are never going to be good enough to marry anyone ever again. Got it? Little brat, one of these days someone is going to put you in your place. Do you know that? See, you even talk like an old maid. All you've done this whole time is prove my point time and time again. You're not even giving good arguments anymore. I am so glad that I put an end to you and my brother before this whole thing got way out of hand. I don't have time for this nonsense anymore. Goodbye, Erica.
Becca, are you there? I just left my parents' place and I was wondering if I could come over to yours. I want you to forget all about whatever my sister thinks. You and I are getting married.
Do you really want to talk about your engagement with me right now, Nathan?
I do. But first, I just want to say how sorry I am for how Erica has acted towards you today. I've seen anyone do what she did to you and it was absolutely unacceptable. I mean, who pours coffee on someone else like that?
Thank you, but you shouldn't be the one apologizing for that, Nathan. Do you really still want to get married in spite of all the trouble that I might cause you and your family?
I brought you over to meet my family today because I thought they would be happy for me, for us. But after you left the house, no matter how hard I tried to convince Erica that you were the woman for me, she couldn't get over the fact that you were married before. She kept saying all these terrible things about how marrying you was going to be the start of the end of my life. I got so fed up hearing her talk about you that way that I finally left the house.
She really said all that about me to you.
She did, and I couldn't believe it. I had never heard her talk that way about anyone before then. But it also makes me realize that we don't have to care about what she thinks. This is our lives, and we should live them how we want.
Oh, Nathan, I'm so happy to hear you say that to me. But you do know that if we go through with this, your sister will probably never talk to you again. Are you okay with that?
If she's going to be acting this way, then I don't want anything to do with her in the first place. I don't know what happened to make her change, but she isn't the person that I used to know anymore. I was getting fed up with attitude already, so this was just a good chance to make a clean break from all her nonsense.
You really mean that? That you were already thinking of cutting her off?
You know, Erica has always been a pretty prideful girl. Even when she was little, she would look down on the less popular kids and judge them for petty things. I remember one time, she had a girl in her friend group who said that she wasn't going to college and was going to start working instead. And Erica just kept bullying that girl and calling her poor and stuff. But I never saw her actually physically take action to bully someone like she did to you today. That's when I knew she really had changed too much.
Wow, I can't believe she said such horrible things to that girl.
She really did. And there was another time where she had a friend who was a single mother, and Erica told her that children without both parents aren't even worth having. She just says the first cruel thing that comes to her mind and never thinks about how it might affect the person she's talking to.
Well, everyone and everything, it sounds like. And to say those kind of things to people actually going through stuff like that, that is just awful.
Well, Erica thinks she's never made any mistakes in all her life, so she thinks she gets to judge those who she thinks have. Basically, she just asserts that she's right and everyone else is wrong, unless she says otherwise.
How can someone even live like that? How has no one ever stood up to her and told her just to mind her own business?
It's a mystery to me as well. But I refuse to let Erica be the reason why I don't marry the woman of my dreams. So please, do you mind if I come over so we can talk more about this in person? I want to plan a date that we can go to court and get married, and then we can look at places to move in together.
It's been a while since we last spoke, but I just wanted to do my due diligence and make sure that you and my brother finally split up. Actually, on the contrary, we've moved in together. And this weekend, we're going to the courthouse to have our civil ceremony and get married. Hold on a second, what? So you two haven't broken up at all? Oh, you're going to get married instead? I can't believe this. How dare you just go and do this after what I said you should do? Erica, can you please just tell me what is this really about that you don't like? Why is it that you don't want Nathan and I to get married so badly? It's because I hate you, and you're not good enough for him. I already told you that a divorced woman can never ever be trusted again to be married. You're just going to run away and hurt my brother the moment things get a little difficult for you. Well, I'm not going to let you blow up my brother's life like you did with your last marriage. You really do see things through your own biases, don't you? I'm not biased at all. I'm just honest about what I see, and people don't like to hear the truth. I mean, even after I told you about how I was tricked about who my last husband really was, and that after he changed, I had to just leave him for my own sake, and you still managed to put the blame on me. You made it sound like I was taking the easy way out, even though I told you that divorce was the last thing that I wanted to do. Well, that's because all you said in that whole sob story of yours was it was tough, so I gave up. Do you really think I believe that your husband suddenly changed personalities after you got married? That sounds like an excuse, and a failure at that. And if that's how lightly you take marriage, then clearly you weren't good enough for my brother to stick it out through thick and thin. It was your job to find out about the person you got married to before you married them. What's that term, red flags? You didn't see any of them? Erica, I really think you're making a huge mistake. I don't make mistakes. In fact, I'm also engaged to be married, and unlike you, I know exactly the kind of person that I'm getting with. That's why I agreed to get married to him. wait a second, you're engaged to be married too? But not even Nathan knew anything about that. Well, he wouldn't know anything since I've been keeping it a secret from the family this whole time. But soon, I'm going to be introducing him to the family, and they'll see just what an amazing man he is. Although, I suppose since the cat is out of the bag, I can tell you that he graduated from Harvard, and he works at a huge investing firm. His name is Charlie, and he's amazing. Oh, and he's all mine. So, your fiance's name is Charlie. That's right. He's just a few years older than me, but all that means is that he has more life experience. He's so amazing, and I'm not ashamed to be seen with him at all. We're actually the perfect match for each other. So, this Charlie guy is a bit older than you. Do you mind if I ask exactly how much older he is than you? Actually, it's funny that you ask because Charlie is the same age as you, so he's about 7 years older than me. Wait, what? Are you serious? That's right, he went to a great school, has a great job, and is a good age. Basically, he's the perfect catch. I should know. I've spent time learning about the kind of person he is, and I know that I'm not wrong about how I feel towards him. I'm not gonna make the same mistakes that an idiot like you did when you got married. So you just dived right into your marriage without even thinking about any of the consequences, and all it got you was a divorce. You know, I think your Charlie might actually be my ex-husband, Charlie. Harvard, the job and finance, his age, it all matches exactly with the man I used to be married to. I'm afraid that you might, in fact, be marrying someone who has also been a divorcee. Hold on, wait a second. What? I know. I'm just as shocked as you are to be hearing all of this. The world really is a small place, isn't it? Is that supposed to be some kind of a joke or something? There is no way that the man I'm engaged to marry ever had anything to do with you. Because if that was really true, then that would mean that I'm about to marry a horrible person. But there's no way that he was married before or even got divorced. Well, all I'm saying is that everything you told me about this man so far has matched up exactly to the man I used to be married to. My ex-husband, Charlie, also went to Harvard, and he also works in finance. And his name is also Charlie, like your fiancé. But that just happens to be all a coincidence. I mean, I've never even seen Charlie drink, okay? And he's never mentioned anything about being married to you or anyone before. Sounds like the same thing he did to me. I never saw him touch a glass before we got married. It was only after he did that he showed me who he really was. But I think you'll find out pretty quickly that he does all of his drinking while you're away, and he only pretends to abstain when he's around you. Oh, you are full of it. This can't be right. And have you actually ever asked him before if he's ever been married? Because I feel like that's something a lot of people don't bring up, especially if they don't see it's necessary. You might want to look into that, though. This is really bad, though. I mean, we're already engaged. How can we get married if he's hiding so much about me that I don't even know? This can't be right. He would never do something like this to me. I know how you feel. I thought the same exact thing before when I got married to him. But he's hiding his true self from you. And once you two get married, you can look forward to him just downing bottle after bottle, night after night. And I don't want to make any formal accusations, but I'm just telling you that it's really worth looking into before you get married, okay? No. You can't be right about this. My Charlie would never lie to me about who he is. I mean, he is my fiancé, for crying out loud. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot that you have the ability to know exactly who someone is and isn't. What is that supposed to mean? I'm only repeating what you said. You told me that you would never get married until you were 100% sure that you knew what kind of person they were. So I guess that means you must have done all of your homework on this person and that you know exactly who you're marrying. I mean, you wouldn't just get married to someone without knowing anything about them, right? Well, of course not. Well then, don't worry about it. I'm sure that things are going to be just fine. After all, if they aren't, then that means you've been wrong about yourself this whole time, wouldn't it? 'Cause I don't think I'm wrong. It never hurts to double check. Oh, no, I really hope that I didn't shake your confidence in your fiancé. After all, you aren't some old hag like me. You're a bright, clever young lady, aren't you? So I'm sure that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into with this guy. I mean, even if I was right, and it is my ex-husband Charlie, and he does change after you two get married, at least you've already been prepared for that, right? Look, I don't know what you're talking about. I just mean that you'll take responsibility for your marriage and won't run away like I did, right? Even when he's drunk and hitting you, you'll still be there by his side, right? You don't really think that will happen to me, do you? Oh no, what have I done? I can't marry someone like that. Becca, you gotta help me. You were right. My fiance was your ex-husband, Charlie. I asked him if he'd ever been married before, and he refused to answer until I pressed him about it, and then he told me the truth. He really is the same abusive alcoholic that you used to be with. Oh, so you did end up going to double check about who he was. And here I thought that you knew all about this guy before you got engaged to him. Oh, shut up! This isn't a joke, you know. And what am I supposed to do about this now? Please, you have to help me. What do I need to do to help you with? Did something happen? He was going to do the same thing he did to you, to me. He hid part of his life that he wasn't going to tell me about at all until after we got married, okay? When he finally came clean about who he was, he went straight to the kitchen, opened a bottle of wine, and chugged the whole thing right before my eyes. That does sound like Charlie. Yeah. He changed right before my eyes. I couldn't believe it all. He got so angry that he told me I wasn't allowed to leave. That also sounds very much like Charlie. He is just the worst when he gets any alcohol in his system. I told you that's the reason why I left him in the first place. But he told me that he really wanted to get back together with you. Except that he didn't know how to get a hold of you after you left him. And so he finally gave up and looked for another woman. And he said he wanted one with a good job who was young, just like me. And now we're engaged to get married. He really is just a terrible, awful person. And to think that he showed his true colors before the wedding. I remember seeing him drink like that the first time. He shouted and yelled at me the whole first night of our marriage. Please, you have to do something to help me. I ran away and locked myself in the bathroom. I can't spend the rest of my life with a guy like this. I can't leave the house, though. He blocked the door, and I have no other option but to hide in here. Please, you have to come and help me. I don't care if you and my brother get married. Just come and save me.
Well, first of all, sis, Becca and I are already married, and we never needed your permission to do so.
Little sister, is this Nathan? Did you two really already get married? I thought you weren't going to do that until this weekend.
That was the plan, but then I was told I was going to have a business trip this weekend, so we moved the appointment up. It was all an easy process, and now Becca and I are married.
Well, congratulations. Now, are you going to come and help me or not?
I don't know. You said that you'd let Becca and I get married if we did, but we're already married, so what else do you got?
What do you mean, what else do I have? I'm your sister, and I'm in trouble. Isn't that enough?
But I thought you knew exactly the kind of person that you were going to get engaged to. No? If you like this guy so well, you can get yourself out of this jam, right?
Wait, no, please. You aren't really just gonna abandon me like this, are you? You're not going to leave your little sister with a mean drunk like this, are you?
It's not that I don't feel bad for you. I just really don't feel like I need to do much either. You got yourself into this mess so you can get yourself out. Becca explained very well to you about the kind of man that her ex was, but you just didn't listen, and look where that landed you.
You're right. I should have listened. I should have never made fun of Becca for being divorced. I never thought it would lead to this, though. I was just trying to protect you, Nathan.
So you think that I should thank you for all that you put my wife through? Because I don't ever remember asking you to do that for me.
Please, I'm sorry for everything. Just help me out here, please.
I've called the cops and they should be on their way. But I never want you to talk to me or my wife ever again.
It wasn't long after that call that the police finally came and was able to get Erica that was trapped in the bathroom. It goes without saying that Erica and Charlie promptly broke off their engagement. I heard through the grapevine, however, that all of Erica's friends are now teasing her for having horrible taste in men, as well as not knowing what she got herself into. Of course, this was also just a way of getting back at her for all the times Erica would make fun of her friends for making poor choices with their ex-boyfriends or current partners. As for Nathan and I, we had a small wedding ceremony with some friends and family, and now living together, happily married.
I can't handle this any longer. I'm going to have you quit your job and go take care of my family. I have had enough of dealing with them, and I am not going to go back to their place ever again to help them.
What? What's gotten into you, Ron?
Don't act as though I haven't been feeling this way about them for the longest time now. I remember a long time ago that I told everyone that I wasn't going to be able to care for my parents on my own. Yet, even though you're my wife, you've done nothing to help me. And because of me having to be with them all the time, I have burned right through a lot of this year's earnings. I'm at my limits now. I have done my very best for my parents. So now it's your turn to do your part.
Wait a second though, Ron. That isn't the same as what we promised each other before. We said that we'd promised to take care of our own parents as they got older and needed our help, right?
Excuse me?
You were the one that wanted to make that promise in the first place, right? 5 years ago, when both my parents came down with something serious and needed us to care for them for a little while, you told me you wouldn't dare come over with me to help and told me no. You said that we should only have to take care of our own parents and no one else's. And you followed that by saying you're my husband and I should respect your choice.
Oh, well, that was...
And that's why for the longest time I've been caring for my parents all by myself. They live pretty far from here, so I have to run over to their place every day, taking away around 3 hours of my time. I remember when they first started asking for help, I had to be over at their place all night and only got around 2 hours of sleep between work and them. You are well aware that I took care of them all on my own. So this time it's going to have to be you that sacrifices a lot to have to be with your parents.
Shut up! Your parents never required nearly as much attention as my parents do. Compared to how much you had to put in taking care of your parents, my parents require at least 10 times the effort. So that's why right now I'm no longer going to follow that promise we made back then.
Huh?
Your parents passed away not too long ago, right? So adding that all up, you only really had to care for your parents for around a year or two. Your mother then passed away first, followed by your father after that. Well, my parents are not as easy as them. It will be around a lot longer and require way more attention from you. Right now, they are both suffering from early stages of dementia, but their health is still really good, so they'll be around for at least another 5 years. But I don't want to be the one that has to sacrifice all my time and money to be with them for that long.
I feel as though you can't compare whose parents are harder to take care of, Ron. We both agreed that we'd only have to take care of our own parents, so that's what we'll do. You cannot take back what you promised.
But my parents are like your parents as well now, right? After all, you are the one that married into my family, and that means you're going to have to care for my parents from now on until they can both kick the can.
Do you think I'm going to follow along with that selfish assumption of yours?
Shut up, Jill. You are my wife, and I will not take you talking back to me. I'm very serious about being done with all this caring for my parents crap, so I'm going to have you take over for me now. You are going to quit that job of yours and become a housewife. And then, in my place, you're going to start taking care of my parents when they need you.
Are you kidding me? You want me to quit my job just to be there to do your job? Not only are you forcing me to take care of them for you, but you want to take me away from my job as well?
You've seen it yourself already. It's impossible to work both a job and care for aging parents. And I can't have you slacking off from caring for our house as well. So you're going to become a housewife and do all the chores here before you go out and care for my parents. I'll be free to finally get back to work and start making more money for the both of us.
You do know that I love the hell out of the job I'm currently doing now, right? Yet you think it's fair to take that happiness away from me all because you're too selfish to help your own parents? At this point, just hire someone to go to your parents and care for them. There's all kinds of services out there now that you can hire to care for your parents in their home. And if you don't want to do that, there's no problem with putting them both into a retirement home.
What are you talking about? All those things are a huge waste of money. You really think I'd be willing to hand over some of my money for something my wife could just do as well? I'd rather you go ahead and just quit your job and then start doing all the chores for us, as well as watch over my parents for me.
Well, have you ever thought about quitting your own job to go care for your parents full time?
Are you a freaking idiot? I make way more money in a year than you do. There's no way I'd give up my income to rely on someone who's making pocket change like you. Anyway, what I've said to you today is an order from your husband. You are only going to focus on doing housework and caring for my parents from now on. Before you leave work today, tell your boss that you're quitting.
Hey Lauren, it's been a while. Sorry to have to talk with you about this out of left field, but I have some things I'd like to ask about regarding your parents. The first thing I'd like to ask is if you'd be willing to work together with me when I begin taking care of your parents. Huh? You already know that that's not going to happen. I have a life and a job of my own that I'm busy with. And when it comes to taking care of my parents now, shouldn't that be something my brother is handling? Stop trying to ask his little sister to watch them when that's his responsibility. But right now it seems that Ron has had enough of that responsibility. And he's even at the point where he's asking me to quit my job and watch them full-time for him. He thinks that I should be the one to sacrifice my life to be their caregiver. So instead of him having to be pushed to his limits with them, and instead of me having to quit my job for them, how about all three of us take time out of our weeks to care for your parents and keep everyone from having to sacrifice anything? Oh, wait. It's times like these where the wife should step in, right? You should be willing to sacrifice yourself so that both my brother and I don't have to work ourselves to death. Now, go ahead and do your best with my parents, Jill, and just leave the two of us out of it. What? And from what I've heard, you already have experience in caregiving from when you took care of your own parents, right? I think it's best that you take care of them for us, as I have no idea what I'd have to do to help them. Really? So even you're going to start acting as though I need to be the only one caring for your parents? Then can you at least chip in for all of us to get your parents some hired caregivers? At least then none of us would have to go over there to be with them all the time, and I wouldn't have to quit my job. We can hire someone to watch them during the week, so please help pay for that. What? Why the hell should I be helping pay for that? And right now, with the life I'm living, I don't have the money to hand over to hire some caregivers I don't know. I'm not going to be helping care for my parents, and I most definitely will not be paying for someone to. Are you kidding me? Stop trying to push your responsibilities on others now, Jill, and just do your job as Ron's wife and care for my parents. You are his wife after all, so stop coming to me with things that will only stress me out. Quit your job and take care of my parents. Now that's it from me, and I'm leaving both my mom and dad in your hands, huh? Hey, Jill. I hear that you started to take money away from my parents, and I am not going to let that continue happening. All you do is sit around on your butt all day, so why should they pay you anything? Huh? Lauren, what the heck are you talking about? I don't think that I'm sitting around all day and am forcing your parents to pay me anything. Stop trying to hide what's going on over there from me. I already know everything about what's really happening with my parents and you. I know that you asked them to pay for you to care for them, and that they are currently paying you around $2,000 a month for that. I guess that someone might have said something to you about that. But that money that they pay me is something that your parents and I talked about thoroughly and has nothing to do with you. I was the one that had to quit my job in the first place to come care for them, right? So when both your parents heard about that, they came to me wanting to negotiate a price they'd pay me to work for them. But right now you're getting too much from them. Why do you get to make $2,000 a month doing practically nothing? I know that the two of them are healthy enough to care for themselves by the way they looked when I've come over the past few times recently. Neither one of them look as though they have any signs of dementia or any other sickness. So why are they having to pay you when they're both well enough to take care of themselves? Wait, have you actually been coming over here to see your parents recently? Both my brother and I are worried about our parents. And we wanted to know just how bad their dementia might have become in the past couple of months. But when I came over to see them just the other day, both my mom and dad looked like their normal selves. Do they really need you there caring for them? And why the hell do they have to be forced to pay you that much for nothing? I'm not going to let you get any more money from them when all you do is just sit around in the house doing absolutely nothing. You have it all wrong, Lauren. It's just that recently their symptoms haven't been as bad. But normally they have a hard time dealing with their dementia and need me to do all kinds of things for them. Huh? They've actually been getting a lot worse this past month and have only been looking okay this week. There are times where if I don't keep my eyes on them at all times, they'll leave the house and wander the neighborhood. And multiple times now they've forgotten who I am and will start to yell at me to leave their house and leave them alone. It's really not been as easy as you think these days. And it's not just one of them that's like that, but both of them. Stop trying to lie to me. I already told all of what I saw and heard about you to Ron. And when I told him about those things, he told me that he had no clue you were taking $2,000 a month from them. And because he didn't agree with you getting money from them, he's pissed. You've got to be kidding me. The whole reason that your parents and I never told him about how they started to pay me for my services is because he was the one that forced me to quit my job in the first place to take over his responsibilities. Not only have you had to do nothing for the past 2 months as a housewife, you've also been stealing $2,000 from my parents a month. As far as I'm concerned, you are nothing more than a parasite feeding off everyone around you. Did you just call me a parasite? I did. You've already been living off everything my brother is making for you, yet now we've learned that you've been taking money from my parents as well for doing nothing. All of that is a textbook parasite move. And because of all that, Ron doesn't need you as his wife anymore. I'm going to have you divorce my brother right now. What? Divorce Ron? If I'd known that they'd be able to give me $2,000 a month, I would have started caring for my parents the moment you asked me to. It would have been the perfect job for me. All I'd have to do is sit around the house with my parents all day and make $2,000 for that. And I'd be able to take whatever day I want off and be able to finally go to all those concerts I've been wanting to see. I think I'll be taking your spot now as their caregiver, and that means you'll need to go. You are being fired now as their caretaker, and I'll be getting that sweet $2,000 a month from them now. I'm really pleased to hear that you're finally willing to come and care for your parents for me, but why do you have to ask me to divorce your brother for that? Because you do nothing for this family and will be completely useless after I take your job caring for my parents. What? Are you sure you have all your facts straight to be asking something like that from me? I can tell you that after I take your job, you're going to want to get back out there to find another job again. But at your age, there aren't going to be any companies willing to pay you well enough for your efforts. In other words, there's no use for you anymore besides cleaning the toilet, and my brother can do that himself. So I think you leaving my brother would be the best thing for him. You're lying, right? You're now going to come and finally take care of your own parents only because you heard that I was being paid for it, and then think that because I will no longer be caring for them, I have no use in your family? What the hell is wrong with both you and your brother? I'm not in the mood to sit around all day listening to you complain about the truth. Hurry up and get the hell out of our lives, you parasite. I'm going to make sure that you're divorced from my brother after doing nothing for him or my parents. Thank you so much, then. Good luck caring for your parents. Huh? I'll make sure to get all those divorce papers signed and handed in for you. And I really do mean it when I say thank you for all of this. You have finally given me a fresh start to a brand new life. Wait a sec. What the heck? You're being told to divorce your husband right now, yet you're thanking me right now for that? Have you gone completely crazy or something? You should be telling me right now that you don't want a divorce and are willing to give me all your money to stop me from forcing you to leave my brother, right? No, no, no. Anyone in my shoes would be happy to hear this kind of thing from you and be thanking you. I mean, you're finally saving me from living in the hell that was caring for your parents. I've never been this happy before. Huh? It was hell caring for my parents? You really thought it was hell caring for two perfectly healthy adults? Well, I'm sure things will be a lot harder for you than you think, so good luck. When it comes to the symptoms of having dementia, they're some of the worst of any sickness, and you'll soon learn just how hard it is caring for two people that have it. You'll be asked over and over again for food, even though you just fed them, and at times they'll forget who you are or where they're at and start yelling at you because of it. There are even times they call the police because they don't recognize you, and you have to explain to the police that they are both suffering from dementia. Good luck, Lauren. You are going to have to do a lot of apologizing to all sorts of people because of them, but you'll get used to it. Huh? And just be aware that every day, including weekends, you'll have to be at their house bright and early to start caring for them, and won't be able to leave or sleep until around 10 p.m. every night. And don't forget that when you're not caring for your parents, you'll have to be doing chores around the house and preparing their next meals. You are going to have no days off and will only be making a mere $2,000 a month. To someone like me, that kind of money is pocket change. But to hear that you think that kind of money is worth it for all that work, it really warms my heart. Wait a second, Jill. Having to apologize for them and having the police called all the time? Do my parents really cause that kind of trouble for you all the time? They sure do. And compared to when your brother was looking after them, your parents' dementia has gotten way worse. That's why I was hoping to have him around to help me, but he told me that since I'm a housewife, I should be able to handle everything on my own. And after that, I never got any kind of help from him. And are you aware that I never asked to be a housewife in the first place, right? Which means that I was going through all this hard work with little merit. You're lying, right? I'm sorry for talking a bunch about myself and your parents again. I'm sure listening to me tell you about all this stuff won't teach you anything, and that you'll be better off experiencing everything firsthand. Now I'm going to get started on divorcing Ron, and you can get started on watching your parents.
Hey, Jill, what the heck is up with this divorce paperwork? When I got back home from work, there was a bunch of filled out paperwork for divorce on the living room table.
I heard about everything from Lauren. There's no need for me as your wife anymore since I'll no longer be caring for your parents, and I won't be able to make enough money with whatever job I find now, right? So I'm only doing as you guys have asked and am leaving you. Why are you acting all surprised over that?
A divorce? Are you an idiot or something? You should be apologizing to me right now for what you've done and handing me all that money that you've earned from your parents to me. And I was going to stay quiet about how useless you are and let you back into my house after all that.
So you both are only upset about what's happened because you wanted the money I made from your parents? But I'm sorry, Ron. That money was earned by me for caring for both your mom and dad. I have no plan to give you the money I've earned and will be divorcing you now.
Now, I'm not screwing around right now. If you were to divorce me, then what'll happen to my parents?
I thought you already knew that your sister would be taking over for me. She said that she's going to be their caregiver now since she can earn $2,000 from them each month.
Well, then what about me? Who will care for me? Who's going to make my food for me every day and do the chores here?
I don't freaking know, you dunce. You should be able to do that sort of stuff yourself.
What?
I don't see you suffering from dementia right now, and you can still move around on your own without any help. So that means you can do all the chores and cooking yourself, right? You can't just expect to push all that work back onto me now that I'm no longer caring for your parents. Oh, wait, does this mean that you're the real parasite now since you can't seem to take care of yourself without your wife?
Huh?
When I'm gone, there's not going to be anyone around for you that'll be willing to care for you as though you're some kind of old man. So you're going to have to learn how to take care of yourself again as a single man. Because things will only become harder for you as you grow older and find it harder to remember things or walk on your own. Unless you start saving now for the future where you'll need to be put into a home or hire someone to come to the house and take care of you. I know that I'll have to do that now since I won't have a husband around to help me anymore. Although it's not like you were helping me in any way in the first place. Anyway, good luck to the both of us as we begin our new lives as single, middle-aged adults. I never thought it was going to be this tough taking care of 2 people with dementia, and only making $2,000 a month for all this work is not enough. And it's gotten to the point now where every day I'm spending close to 24 hours here watching over them and doing everything around their house. If you have the time to come to me with this sort of crap, then you have the time to ask your brother to come help you, right? He is your brother after all, so you both should be able to work together to deal with your aging parents. Even if he does come to help, he's so full of himself that he makes me do all the hard work while he sits around doing the simple stuff. Anytime I ask him to help with anything that isn't watching them sleep or dusting the shelves for the 500th time, he tells me that he can't be asked. Cleaning their bathroom is nasty and should be done by me. I don't know how to cook any meals. He's pretty much forcing me to do everything for them. Well, if that's too much for you, then hire someone to come care for them. Or you could put them into a retirement home. You both can split the cost for that, so it shouldn't be out of the question, right? But if I do that, then the $2,000 I make each month will go away. I do not want to lose the money that I'm making right now. What? So please, come help me, Jill. You were able to care for them all by yourself, right? You can be here to help teach my brother and I how to do the more difficult things when we ask, or even allow us to do the easy things while you handle the harder tasks. Everything is difficult when it comes to caring for those with dementia, Lauren. You're just going to have to learn to deal with it all. But I was thinking that this kind of work would be a piece of cake and I'd be making $2,000 to do nothing. I was supposed to be making $2,000 a month to sit here in this house with my parents while they took care of me. Weird to think that you'd be willing to do all that after calling me the parasite. Well, I'm sorry that all of this caregiving work is getting to you, but it's too late now to back out of it, so good freaking luck.
Please, I really need you to come and help. If things keep going like they have been, then both Lauren and I are going to drown. I have been working non-stop at my parents' house helping Lauren care for my parents now, and have had to take pretty much every day off work now to be here. It's to the point that my higher-ups are starting to question me, and are thinking of cutting my salary. And not just that, but want me to move to a different office outside of town, and that will put me almost 3 hours away from my parents' house.
That is such a nice company you work for. If I were them, I would have just fired you for calling off all the time and never being around anymore.
Why are you saying that with such happiness? I was finally getting back to my life of having a really good income again. I've worked for years now, putting all my time into my current position with all those raises I've earned. And now it's all going to vanish. At this point, the only things that are going to work for us all now is if you come back here and start caring for my parents again.
Really, Ron?
Recently, there hasn't been any break in the work Lauren and I have had to do, and we are both getting to our breaking points. I really want to go back to working my very best at the job I have before they choose to move me and cut my pay. So you have to come back here to help us or we'll be screwed. I mean, we ended up getting a divorce from one another, so things must be tough for you as well now, right? You ended up being a housewife in the end, and I'm betting that finding a job has been horrible for you now, right? So you should be happy to be able to come back to my side and be my housewife again, right?
I'm sorry, Ron, but I'm back working for the company you had me quit from. To tell you the truth, I never actually quit like you asked me to.
What?
I just told my boss that I'd be taking a couple of months off to care for family, and the moment we got a divorce, I was right back into work doing my job. And of course, I'm making the same salary that I was making before I took time off. Did you really think that I was going to let you boss me around and make me your housewife? No way, Ron.
Hey, what do you mean, Jill? I remember telling you to quit your job and come be my housewife, right?
Why would I ever listen to what you asked of me when it's that selfish of an order from you? To keep you from realizing that I really hadn't left my job, I told my boss about what you had said, and he told me that he'd allow the time off to take care of family because he was not okay with what you were doing. He even told me he'd let me have up to a year off to care for your parents while keeping my job if needed.
What?
But I didn't even need a whole year off because your little sister came in to save the day and take my job from me. My boss was so happy to hear that I was no longer being forced to care for your parents, and we celebrated that day. After the past few months, I've even been paid for my time off and will have more than enough in my savings come the time that I am too old to work and care for myself. And to be honest, I don't ever plan on coming back to be your wife.
What? I'm the one that has to lose most of my salary soon and will be forced to move to another office. You get to walk away from all this without any consequences?
Well, if you didn't want any of this to happen, then maybe you should have kept your promise and cared for your parents. I had it hard enough having to care for both my parents on my own before they passed. And so now it's supposed to be your turn, but you forced your turn onto me and made me go through twice as much work. I think it's fair that you get to lose a portion of your salary and have to be moved to a farther away office after doing that to me. So quit all of this freaking complaining and go deal with your sister and parents.
But that's...
If you really want to keep the job that you have now before your higher-ups make their final decision, then you hire someone to watch your parents for you and shut the hell up. I'm tired of hearing you constantly complain about not wanting to do this or not wanting to do that, and only wanting a life where you get to think about yourself. You're a grown man now, Ron, and you need to start realizing that you have to be responsible for more than just yourself now. But if you're still going to continue to act like a selfish prick about all of this, then stop complaining to me at least and go complain to someone who actually gives a crap.
Jill?
They are your frickin' parents, Ron. They sacrificed all sorts of things to raise you and put you where you are now, so go repay the favor and care for them in their last days. And if that's not going to be possible for you, then at least have the dignity to hire someone to do your job for you. I'm done with listening to you and your sister complain all day and night about your responsibilities. I'm just a stranger to you all now, so goodbye, Ron. After that, both Ron and Lauren talked more about what they were going to do with their parents and decided to have them both moved into a home. But after only a few days of being housed in that retirement home, both their parents caused more trouble than it was worth for the facility and were sent back home to be cared for by Ron and Lauren. Had they just sent them to the home when they were both less affected by dementia, then they would have probably gotten away with leaving their parents there. But since they waited too long and forced me to do their jobs, their parents were too far gone and couldn't be handled by anyone besides the two of them. To me, this is all well-deserved by them, though, and that makes me very happy to say. After getting their parents back from the home, Ron was no longer able to work long enough anymore, and was forced to work on the smaller office outside of town with a large pay decrease. And as for Lauren, she was no longer able to go to any of those concerts she was excited for, as caring for her parents wore her out too much and she lacked the energy to get out of the house.